Hey, Nick.
Hey, Chase.
It's that time again.
What time is it?
Time for
Fuck This Place!
I also like my shirt.
Hell yeah.
My day is going really interesting, actually. I went to get a haircut, and they messed up so bad that I cried.
Oh, shit.
And like so embarrassing. That's why I look like a pumpkin right now. Like they really messed up my bangs, and then they had to make them a lot shorter than normal. So it's all good. We're rolling with it. But it was not the way that I expected the day to go. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take my little brother out for a haircut. We're gonna go do this. And I was like, wow, I picked like the worst salon ever. And I swear I read the reviews, but
yeah, I mean, haircuts really can. You forget when you have it good because you're like, oh yeah, it's just a haircut or whatever. But then once the hammer drops,
it can be so bad.
Yeah.
What happened? So like you go. This
By
is
the
what
way,
I like.
I for the record, I would not walk into a room and be like, well, this person's had a bad haircut, So
I
that's me.
appreciate
I'm
that.
also not,
It's because we're frontal right now. If you saw the situation on the sides,
Okay.
I mean, and I clean things up at home. Like I usually cut my own hair. Is
Okay.
Same.
the way that it goes, because I literally have had more bad experiences than good experiences by far in salons. So I have like salon anxiety, and I was like, it's fine. Like we're gonna go. Like it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, we are gonna be fine.
fine.
Me and this hair.
So I went like fixed it. But at one point the line, because it's supposed to be like one line, right?
Okay.
Like, that's how bangs work. Ideally.
I think lately, as far as the way that, I think that there are other interpretations, but like, yeah, as far as like, what I've seen in media, it's bangs or bangs. You know what I mean?
Basics,
it's all lowercase,
right?
straight across.
And so all of a sudden I see that on the side, there is like a boop, just a little part in there. And I'm like, oh, ma'am, do you mind? Can we look at that? Can we like revisit that? And then she does, and then actually makes it worse. And then I'm like, and I hate being this person. Like I really, really, really hate being this person. But I was like, is it okay if like I don't trust you anymore? I didn't say that, but I was like,
over.
Can you get like you've like the trust is gone. So I was like, can you maybe bring like the manager? And like I don't want to be that person. Yeah, can I speak to the manager? But
but are they around?
Yeah, and so the manager was around and she fixed it, and that felt better. But yeah, I was at one point, it was not a line, it was like mountains. And I was like, oh, interesting.
Like your head looks like a Coors Light bottle. It's just like the Rockies behind there.
It's not even the cool one that like changes color when it's cold.
No, it's the old ones.
So what is when you go, hey, shut up, what does she say? Like what does she say to that? Is she like, oh yeah, no problem? Or like, is she also freaking out that you?
Oh no, it was just awkward. And at the end, she was like, "Oh, sorry if I messed up." And I'm like,
"If
you did," but I didn't say that. No, I was just like, with that really uncomfortable, unspoken stuff. Like there was very few words exchanged actually. But then it was kind of, and she was like, fine to like go get somebody to like help.
You didn't hear like a gunshot when she left the room or whatever?
No, and I still tipped her because I'm not a monster.
Yeah,
but they like gave me a discount.
Ever go back. Oh, they gave you so they.
I mean, like I feel like what you have to do is like you got to get the waterworks ready. You go and then like you cry. It's like the crier discount. Like honestly, like
you cried there.
Yeah.
No, like humiliating, like straight up.
Yeah, so you cried on the spot.
Yeah, no, like straight up, like she's washing my hair. She's like, it's okay, honey, you don't have to cry. I'm like, I'm literally 24 and I'm like crying in this hair salon right now. So that's like a really long, convoluted answer to how's your day going? Like that's how my day is going.
You had to come be on our dumb podcast. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, this is great. How are your days going?
Our days are great. I mean, mine's pretty good. I just feel like just kind of hanging out, chilling, waiting around to talk jobs, talk music, just all that. What about you, Chase?
It's good. I just dropped like this big ass thing in my kitchen that like broke, and I had to clean it up and stuff. So I was a little late.
Okay. What was it, like a jar of pickles?
Yeah, just so many pickles all over the ground. No, it's one of those stupid like pot hole. Those things you put like you don't want them until you don't have them. It's like the thing where you would just put a spoon or something if you're while you're cooking. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what they are. Spoon holder.
Oh, the spoon holders. Yeah,
I guess that's what they're called. They're just a thing that where a ladle or a spatula that goes, you know. And this one was like kind of like it was white, but I didn't know it was like a pottery. I mean, I knew it wasn't plastic anyway.
It's crazy. The more you explain, the less I understand of what you're talking about.
It doesn't matter because it's
changing shape as I'm, you know, it's like it comes
anymore.
from space, but also the sea, you know. Like, what?
If you stare at it too long, you go blind, just like the sun. So anyway, we should introduce the podcast. Welcome to Fuck This Place, a podcast about jobs. With Chase and Nick. My name is Chase.
My name is Nick, and with us is another fantastic guest. She's a singer-songwriter of the indie folk alternative vein. But you can check out her music wherever you get music and decide for yourself which songs of hers are the best. She's Toronto-based. She's got a new single called Admit It coming out on August 31st. She is everywhere, and she is with us here today. She is Adina V. Adina, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me, and thank you for that introduction. I'm doing all right. You know, we're
The
here,
best.
we're caffeinated. I'm on my second iced coffee of the day, so it should be
Okay.
a good
Yeah.
time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're on East Coast time right now, right?
Yeah, it's 5. That's okay. I
Yeah.
game late into the evening.
Okay, fine.
I'll just out myself as a nerd right away.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
right,
you're
right.
no, you're rolling the dice for me. I mean, I can't have caffeine after, I don't know, 1 p.m. So
What do you
I'm proud of you for being
what are you
that strong.
gaming? What are you gaming?
I guess.
Okay, well, is it
Nick,
PC
you
or
have to guess.
console?
I don't know.
PC or
Oh,
console?
please, I play on my MacBook laptop. It's
Okay.
Snood. Do you remember Snood?
Snood.
Was that just me in computer class?
Number munchers. What?
It's actually Leapfrog.
Is it Tron?
Warcraft.
No, but you're getting kind of closer.
Okay,
StarCraft.
so is StarCraft a thing?
StarCraft's the thing.
All right.
I don't think it's the correct answer, but it's the thing.
Yeah.
No,
What
actually-
we're saying, we're in the genre of like free
like
exploring.
MMORPGs.
No. Is it an RPG? I feel like no. I think it must be. I barely even know my gaming terminology. Like I dated a guy who played this game, and now I have a problem. Like that's what I got from that relationship.
Yeah, you lost the guy, kept the game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Solid.
It starts with a L.
Oh
Fuck,
shit.
dude.
Land.
I don't know why like L is such an intimidating
I'm gonna
letter.
figure it out.
Oh shit, not L.
You know that TikTok trend with all the different letters, and then you have to do like
You'd like guess a country and a chemical.
yeah. I tried it, and then I got Y, and I was like Yugoslavia, perfect. And then I was like, that's not a country anymore.
Not anymore.
Rip.
No.
And then I was like, okay, I'm not
but it is
posting
in
that
a
one.
bunch of social studies textbooks. You know, like even
So-
today.
But
You
then
know,
I got
schools are
then I
underfunded.
immediately had to do like city, and then I was lost. So
L. You googling things that
I'm
start
good.
with L
Yeah, I'm
video game?
good. Like games that start with L. I got nothing. I'm okay. I'm over here. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, Layers of Fear, League of Legends. Is that it?
ding ding ding.
League of Legends. Oh, okay,
Alright.
cool. How is that?
They
Is it good?
arguably one of the most toxic communities,
really?
but it's okay if you play with friends.
Uh-huh. So what, you just go around just battling, just fucking shit up?
Yeah, it's an arena game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
your
nice,
objectives.
nice,
You
nice,
play
nice,
different champions. They all have different abilities. I've spent too much money on the aesthetics in the game. You know, like sometimes they make the pretty skin, and then you're like, oh yay.
Yeah, well, I need that. Are you
If
are
I'm
you
gonna
a
kick
beast
some
in it
butt,
then?
I'm gonna have to look good.
Yeah.
Right.
And you also know what you're getting, unlike a haircut.
Yes.
Mhm.
This is fact.
Mhm.
Would you consider yourself good? There's no judgment here. We're not gonna
No.
be like,
I don't
you
even know what buttons are.
That's a
anymore.
great question. No, I would say like I'm so much better than I was. Am I good?
Nice.
No. No.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
At all.
You're still a
No.
legend in our book.
But
But do you stomp people? Like, do you get wins and stuff? Because I know
yeah.
I play games too, so I know that you're never good in your own mind because there's people that just mop you when you run into them. But do you also get? I'm sure you get.
some
yes,
wins.
there. It's funny because there's like streaks. Like you'll be on a win streak and you'll feel really good, or you're on a losing streak and you feel really bad. And sometimes it's like hard to get out of there. But I'm lucky that I don't really get tilted because at the end of the day, I'm like people are flaming in the chat and I'm like, guys, like I could just close this. I could just close the computer screen. There's no need. It's a game.
Everyone is gonna be all right. Because they won't exist anymore. In my mind. That makes sense. Okay, well, Dina, we should just jump straight into our first segment we do on every podcast. It's actually a segment that we call "Fuck This Place?" ? Where we decide if we work somewhere or not. And you're originally from, it's next to Toronto, and I'll tell you what, I don't know how to pronounce it because I'm not from Canada.
Mississauga?
Mississauga. Boy, that's good. I'm glad I didn't say it out loud. That wasn't what was in my head. I think I was putting more consonants in. Anyway, Mississauga.
Mississauga, like
Mississauga.
Mississippi,
like Mississippi.
the same amount of I's and S's,
But
and then
Auga.
the end is different.
I'm good.
Yes,
I'm good.
you
Nice.
got
Twist
it.
ending. Yeah. Got it.
Twist ending with a lot less real scary gas stations is my guess.
Mhm.
So we've looked up the Craigslist posts from the like Toronto, Mississauga area. Are you familiar with Craigslist at all? Sometimes when we talk to people from Canada, they've never been on it before.
No, I have.
Okay.
I did. I mean, I've also seen just like the creepy or just really memey posts that exist on there. I'm sure there's for real job. Like, I don't think I'd ever trust a single a job offer coming from.
That's what we've discovered with our international guests.
But do you guys are there legit jobs that you can find on Craigslist that are not
we're here to find that out with you right now.
Like
I mean, like, broad answer, in the US, Craigslist is a lot more used. Like, I got a job in 2014 or 2013 on Craigslist that like I liked and had for quite some time. I've also gotten many jobs from Craigslist that I did not in any way like or keep. So anyway, we'll find out what we got going on in the Toronto, Mississauga area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the title to 3, just like we're browsing. You're going to pick one that's an automatic, like, fuck this place, I'm not even going to click on it. And then we'll look at the other 2 and decide if we work there or not. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So title number 1 is looking for executive assistant. That sounds like a real job.
That sounds real enough.
Number 2 is manager for general business.
I'm sorry, can you pronounce that first word again?
Manager? Manager for general business. Okay. Could be a real job. Then the 3rd is looking for cook to show me how to make shawarma. So which one is an obvious no?
I think the last one.
Okay, no on the shawarma. Got it.
You're not super versed in shawarma.
But it's also just like to show me. It's like you as an individual are hiring me to cook your shawarma.
That's right. It's suspicious from the beginning. Okay, so then let's say fuck that place, and we'll go straight into post number 1, which is looking for executive assistant. This one is in Toronto. Do Mississauga and Toronto have a I would just think that Mississauga gets a little bit forgotten in the Toronto like city landscape. Am I correct in this?
Oh yeah. The thing is that's crazy, and I just found this out last year, is that Mississauga is the 4th most populous, if that's the word.
That's the way it always goes.
Yeah. Of city, it's basically like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, like the ones that you would think of immediately, and then 4th is Mississauga, and I'm like, what?
But it still feels like a little outpost
so
of
Burby.
Toronto.
I'm like, no. But yeah, so they are like, they're separate transit systems, which to me means you don't exist.
I agree. You can't take a train in a as a transit centric city as Toronto. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
No, we do have it's called the GO train. Like, we would have like, that is one train that goes kind of farther out into the GTA.
I want a web.
You wouldn't commute like no, I wouldn't, from where I live now in Toronto. Like, I would not commute via transit to a job in Mississauga. It's too hard.
So they're all lonesome out there. Okay, fine. Okay, so this one is in Toronto. And there's no pictures or anything. The text begins and it says looking for level 1 or 2, like I'm supposed to know what that is. Executive assistant for part-time work at this sounds real. Government of Canada Finance Office. And that's capitalized letters. So we know that they're legit. And then it says most of the job is meant. And mint is not. We should do it in here. Mint is not spelled well here. MENT for you to say. Most of the job.
Maybe if you know what level 1 or level 2 executive is, you know what that meant is. You know, it's all inside baseball talk with them.
Yeah, that could be true. It could be a bureaucratic thing. Mostly the job is meant to be for you to work from home. Okay.
Well, that's what it's meant.
That's what it's meant. Contacting is a new line, but I think this is the same sentence. Contacting financial and banking companies who are in need of consulting and are in different countries.
Okay.
We haven't hit a period or a comma. We're just going to
Yeah.
continue. You must be comfortable with Bitcoin. Oh, as all these companies are offering services that use Bitcoin, and then compensation.
Is that why?
Is that why? And compensation negotiable, employment part time, and then again, the job title does reiterate executive assistants for government finance office, and that is the post.
That's just not a real thing, though.
Mm.
Like maybe
Mhm.
maybe that's dumb of me to say that that's not a real thing. Maybe I just don't know. But it's like you either are with the CRA or you're not. Like, what is Canada Finance Office?
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean,
what's
like,
the
no, but that's the
CRA?
revenue. That's Canada Revenue Agency. So that's like taxes. So maybe this is
A
not. Maybe
finance
this
office?
is different. Maybe this is.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know, but I've never heard of that. So that's already
Yeah,
like
yeah.
ringing
Not good.
alarm bells in my head.
That's
And then
not
the
good.
Bitcoin is like, that's
Already.
that's a big red flag.
Yep.
It makes it sound like it's a startup, like they're just starting this. They're like, what if we did our own government of Canada finance office? All of us here in the garage, we grew up together. Let's do it.
we're and then it's a government for the people. We're the people. So here we are. I
Mm.
would agree with you that even if this is real, if the government of Canada, this person's doing something bad, right? Like this person might work in the government of Canada finance office, but this person is hiring you on the side to do something very shady.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to give you all the passwords to all of my supervisors' accounts, and I need you to call companies in other countries. You're an ambassador. You're basically an ambassador, and we're going to get them to just what? Put Bitcoin places? I don't know. That's when I lose the thread.
Yeah.
It feels like 100% like it's a guy's hiring you to be the suspicious one.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna give you the work, and then you're the weirdo on the phone with some bank somewhere.
Yeah, like he's done it enough, and he's trying to offload it to someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. I need an assistant for these, like 50 calls a day to, like, I don't know, like a Nigerian princess.
Yes,
so it just seems like scam upon scam upon scam. So maybe not real. But even if it is real, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, just because it sounds to me like you're gonna be calling a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're in other countries and you're working from home. It's like, okay, well then I'm just gonna be on the phone trying to get people to do some a scam of some kind.
The hours would also probably be strange if it's
right. That's a good
consulting
point.
in different countries. So
That's
you
right,
need to be like awake when they're awake.
Yeah, especially again, like especially if you're in North America, there's only so many, like you can for sure call the few time zones that exist in North America, but after that, like you got a whole lot of the other world to be like, oh, Spain's like 6 hours ahead of me. Anyway, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I'm out as well, just because it's like I don't want someone who's going around saying things like you got to be comfortable with Bitcoin. You know, everyone's using Bitcoin now, right? It's just like they're pushing
comfortable.
this ideology on me. Comfortable with like he's gonna be showing up to the office and stuff half drunk. No thanks.
Wait, guys, what if we read every capital letter and it spells out a message?
Ooh.
Like it just reads the grammar so bad that it like reads like maybe it's a message.
Yeah. It just spells out like don't trust Steve or whatever.
Call me back, Mom. Okay.
Spells out bring him back. What does that mean?
Yeah, they're trying to extradite somebody from Nicaragua or whatever. Okay, so yeah, we'll say fuck that place. Okay, post number 2 is manager for general business, and there is a photo to get started here.
I'm sorry, is that from like the 50s?
It is a picture. Okay, yeah, for those who are listening, it's a picture of a street corner. It does look like it's been taken on film. You know, like it's just at the best case scenario, someone who got a new 35mm camera and it's like, what if I took the dumbest picture? What if Google Street View was my camera? You know, because it's just a building with 2 people who don't think they're in a picture standing outside of it in a bus stop. Like that's it. And it could be from 1965, but it is colorized. You know, there is color.
Chase, we lost you for like.
Oh, you lost me? Shit. That's because I didn't. I plugged in, but didn't actually plug my hard internet in. But I just plugged it in now. I'm just gonna repeat my whole analysis of this photo. So what we have here is it could be like 35mm film, like this doesn't have to
Mhm.
be, this could be a hip person who wanted to take a picture of like, I don't know, Google Images, like they're like, what if the Google truck was just here? And and then there's like two dudes who have no idea that they're in a picture in a bus stop and like a building and a corner. That's it. There's
Yeah.
there's
This is
nothing
like
about
a,
this picture.
This is like a picture that like your dad shows you. He's like, that was mine and your mom's first apartment, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, cool. Like, I mean, I
Third
like
window
it.
on the right.
Boy, the air never worked in there. And you're like, all right, cool, Dad. Thanks.
We tried to do a window box to plants. They all died, but we left the window box and we moved because we were like, maybe it's good for the next person. Good, cool story, Dad. Thank you. I'm glad. Tell me about the time you lived above the suit warehouse, which is one of the businesses here. It's the only identifiable business. In fact, this person who said general business actually is very, so far, we only have one business to speak of. I mean, this corner has some plants in the window and like a sandwich board. So it could be a coffee shop or something.
I'm really curious because like it's Dufferin Street, and I'm just really, I wonder if you zoom in on the little street name, if I could make out what
here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
what it
says.
No,
we got.
Oh, cool. This feels like we're solving a murder.
Oh,
is
enhance.
that Dundas? Whoa, okay, that looks like it is Dundas. Okay, I know exactly where that is, and that's not what that street corner looks like. This is dated.
Really? What's it like now?
Oh, there's just like far more businesses, like Dufferin and Dundas. I'm trying to like map because I bike everywhere, so I'm like trying to map out like when I bike there.
Yeah. How many people yell at you when you take a ride or whatever?
Okay, actually 0. I was so afraid of biking in the city for the longest time. But now, like, you're king of the road when you're biking in the city. Like,
really?
First of all, what are they going to do? Hit you? No.
They'll try to hit Chase.
Yeah, they don't like me.
No, I've never had that. And like, they kind of have to let you merge and like red lights are optional. Stop signs are optional. Like, you just kind of look and make sure you're sitting. No, but legally in a car, you have to. But me on a bike, I just have a little look-see and then I keep going. And legit, I check Google Maps for the time that it would take me to either
it is accurate
or transit. And biking is always the fastest, hands down, every time. Way faster than transit and often faster than driving in the city.
Yeah,
so
that's what it's all about. That's what we need. I don't know. I'm not going to go on my tirades, but that's what we need. Anyway, so this picture's from 1961. And we hope that they don't want us to work at the suit warehouse. And it says, manager for general business, born between October 23rd to November 21st only. Yeah.
Whoa.
And then, they want a Scorpio?
100%, because it's okay. Anyway, we'll keep reading. Good life opportunity. Please call Mike. And then there's a phone number. And then that's it for the post, but it says compensation to be discussed.
Job title Scorpio.
And then job title does say Scorpio.
Oh, whoa.
That's not a job.
Fucked up.
We're going off the stars, folks.
Wow. And this is Mike. Like, I'm assuming Mike is a man. Like, I'm sorry, a man who is into astrology, I don't see them often.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not, I know basic stuff about astrology. I don't.
Yeah, you're like a recreational astrologist rather than like a religious or enthusiast astrologer.
Yeah, it's like I know the
tendencies.
Yes, that, and also like I know the order of them for the most part, because like I didn't see the job title, but I looked at those dates and I was like, oh, that's when Scorpio season.
Oh, hell
so I knew that. And I also look up the compatibility of me and all my like previous
how did it go with the previous one with the video game?
Okay, so this was an interesting situation where I'm an Aries and he's a Libra, and those are 180 degrees in the zodiac calendar. So it's like it either can be very, very good or very, very bad.
Sure.
And I think what happened is it like oscillated.
It was one, and then it was also
But so it has the ability to be like really friction. But like my boyfriend now is a Sagittarius, and Sagittariuses they're sweeties.
Oh,
they're really like,
okay.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I mean, I'm not super in, but I do know Scorpios are a bit fiery, and a little bossy. Is that what Scorpios are? My brother's bossy, and he's a Scorpio.
They get it. My brother's a Scorpio, but he's not. But my mom's a Scorpio, and she can be. I feel like my mom wants the link to this, so I'm not going to say anymore. My mom
Yeah,
was like,
fair.
I want to watch you, so I can't just,
Yeah, you
I
can't
gotta
tell me
be.
like that.
I'm an Aquarius, and I just believe whatever they tell me about what I am. Every person I meet, just like,
That sounds very Aquarius.
yeah. I'm just like, all right, yeah, sure, that's what it is. I don't know. That's not like a knock. I just know so little, and people you meet who are into that know so much. Like they just,
it's best to
they're like, but
defer.
what's your moon and what's your sun? I'm like, I don't fucking what? I don't.
No, it's right. It's like
I
if
thought
you
I just know the one thing.
It's like if you found a Pokemon card on the street and you walk up to somebody who's got like one of those books and you're like, whatever you think about Charmander,
Yeah, well, sure.
I believe.
That's fine. That's fine.
Scorpios are well known for their. This is a website that I just googled. They're well known for their ruthlessness. They are single-minded in their pursuit of their objectives, which they set high. Scorpios don't see or establish limitations in their life, and they won't let anybody tell them that they can't have what they desire. Scorpios aren't known for showing their decks. Pokemon decks included.
All right.
said that in like.
So then, Adina,
I'm not trying to blow up your mom's spot,
Adina. So then, how would you say your ex-boyfriend Scorpio was in League of Legends?
No,
a game where
he wasn't a
Oh, he was a Libra. He was a Libra.
Oh, okay. So how was he in League of Legends? Is that's like a thing where it's like, oh, well, like when you're in a space like a gaming thing where you are kind of master of a domain on a godlike level at times. It's like, oh, how would you run your world? How do you operate things? How do you treat the prisoners? Are you
merciful?
Yeah. That was my question. I guess if he's not a Scorpio, it doesn't work because that sounded very totalitarian.
Yeah. Oh, that was it was an interesting read. That I would love that website just to spend hours reading things that are probably not real.
I'd be happy to send you this link. Yeah,
I love doing that. My type is the bossy one. Aries are bossy.
Okay, got it. Aries is the ram. Is that true?
Because we're the first in the zodiac calendar, so everyone's like natural born leaders, bossy, and and for the longest time I was like, man, but like I'm so not that, and then I was like, actually, then I got diagnosed with anxiety, and I was like, okay, that's different. That's different. So now I relate to it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's great. I thought I was Aquarius, and then I was diagnosed with depression. I'm just like, okay. So I have other things going on besides just Aquarius. So general business. We went real specific on the type of person
this person killing me.
This person is looking for, but they clearly don't want to tell you what the business is, but I don't know why.
Yeah, you know what, Adina, if you in the coming weeks, if you bike by this place, can you shoot us an email? Tell us what's going on.
I actually will.
That's the scene. Yeah.
Yeah. What's he doing in there? Is it crystals? Is it crystal meth?
Well, to be clear, it does say Dufferin near Dundas, so it's like they probably do a cross street, so it's probably not like exactly there, but just keep your eyes peeled for any Scorpio leaning businesses. Along either of these. I just
got here from 1957 and I'm trying to figure it out myself. I don't know how I got to this year. Everything's different.
The only thing I know is that the world is much more enthusiastic about the zodiac signs.
Yes, that's how my guide now.
I felt very alone in that in 1957. They didn't have those in the papers, so so now I'm psyched.
I'm out.
I was going to say, there's got to be something, it could be just a shop with some good smells or some crystals or something, minimum a juice bar, something that's got a little bit,
You think Mike's a juice guy?
I don't think Mike is a juice guy.
I don't think Mike's a juice guy, man.
More like a tea. I think tea, and then there's like tea leaf readings.
Yeah, we got tea. Or just one of those just stinky stores,
Do you think he's assembling a team and he just needs Scorpio? That's what he needs. That's
to complete the team. Yeah, sort of Captain.
He's got one of everything.
Yeah, like an Avengers Captain Planet.
Yeah, and Avengers of people that weird other people out. Yeah.
Avengers of people that just like they talk for a little too long at parties, but it's not like a big deal, you would prefer to be in another conversation.
Yeah. I'm out because straight up I'm an Aquarius, and that's just I'm not qualified for the position.
I'm a Cancer. That's a good
one.
I was born February 1st.
Right.
I'm in because I want to see if they can actually suss out that I'm not a Scorpio. I'm like so intrigued by this. Like I'm gonna call Mike.
Mike, I'm a Scorpio. Let's chat. And the thing is, you're right, because even if they get to the only place that they were able to call your bluff is if, for instance, you did kind of some paperwork or something, but I don't think Mike's a paperwork guy,
Right.
Probably doesn't believe in paper.
Yeah, papers are not the vibe.
He certainly doesn't believe in much after 1960 by the looks of his picture. I'll tell you that.
Doesn't
Weird
believe
that he
in...
picked Craigslist.
That's
Craigslist
good.
as like this.
That's true. He's in the future
Uh-huh.
using, it's hard to say. Maybe this is an astral projection of some kind, you know? He's in the past, but he's got a phone number now, and it's like there's probably a phone booth on this block somewhere. And if you call that number, it rings, but it goes back in time anyway. I'm sure he's got it figured out. I'm gonna say no. Yeah. And Adina, you're ready to go.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
a
our
yes.
boots on the
I'm
ground for
literally
this.
too curious.
Okay, so
I gotta know.
Fuck, this place is in a maybe. Heyo, what's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, did you know that you can text this podcast? The number is 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. We take your side, by the way. That's an automatic position. If you text us, we're on your side.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about your boss. You think I'm gonna protect that guy? I hate that guy. I hate that guy. I got your back. We got your back here.
Absolutely. If we're like this is like a weirdo, like sleazy lawyer commercial. I mean, we're on your side to a point, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm wearing a goofy suit right now.
I'm wearing a brown tie. Couldn't tell you why. If you need to talk shit about something, like we're your shit talking team. All you gotta do is text 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. We're on your side.
Adina, what is the first job you ever had?
I was very lucky in that I got a job as a music teacher when I was 16.
Oh, wow.
But I was like 16. So I don't know. I guess some people trusted me to teach their children. I was just teaching piano, and then my job shortly after that was literally wait, am I lying on the timeline on that?
I don't know.
I am lying on the timeline. No, the retail was before the restaurant. But I shortly after started working at H&M when I was also 16.
Man.
Wow,
man, that's a lot different than just being a music teacher. I feel like.
That's a lot different than like, here's how to play the piano. Yeah.
When did you start doing music? Just real quick, because I want like at 16 to already be teaching other people. So you've been playing a long time.
Yeah, like formally, I started doing music lessons when I was 5. But when I was growing up, not that this is for real, but I swear it played a part, because we had, growing up, all my toys were like musical instruments, and I was the type of kid who would just be like on my toy saxophone being like, hey guys, I'm gonna put on a concert, and then I'd like play my toy saxophone, and I had like a toy drums, and I had those little pianos that have the colored numbers on the sheet music, and I'd be playing it. So that was kind of my entire childhood, and just like a lot of singing, because my parents would sing with me and do music with me. So that was like informally even earlier, but formally I started doing music at 5.
Wow. Okay. So then you're I'm sorry, I just am genuinely curious about the music teacher. Who were you teaching? You teaching kids younger than you?
Oh yeah, I was teaching like intro people, like 5 and 6 year olds.
Got it.
Okay.
Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense that they would be. I would think that, you know, you sounded suspicious that people would trust you to teach music. And number one, you've been playing it for like 10 years formally by that point. And I think that it's especially for like kids, I think you don't want a lot of teachers for cool stuff. You don't want them to be too old, you know, like even a 20-year-old for like a 5-year-old is a little bit like, you know, like there's such a difference even between 10 and 16, right? That like a 16-year-old, there's like, as a 10-year-old talking to a 16, you're like, you're a full-grown adult. You got a mortgage, I bet, you know, like, you know, you're like, I bet you smoke so many cigarettes or vaped or whatever. And like, you know, I just think that but there's also a connection enough that you're young enough to be like, I remember when I had to learn these things, versus like a 20-year-old is like, yeah, let me teach you Stairway to Heaven or whatever, you know, it's like, and just being weird about it. And it seems like you were the perfect fit.
It was like elaborate babysitting a lot of the time, teaching like really, really small kids.
Yeah.
You know, like you are teaching, it's nice because then you have a built-in activity. You know what the activity is. The activity is playing row, row, row your boat on the piano.
Oh, yeah.
But,
nice.
But yeah, I would just be like little half hours. And then that kind of just kept growing and growing and growing. And I even now, like a lot of what I work is, well, not a lot, but like I have my roster of private lessons that I teach. And I do them virtually too. So if anyone wants to learn from a really cool, hip, young person,
Hell yeah.
you can hit me up because I just graduated school and I'm unemployed.
Tight.
That's my pitch.
I mean, that sounds like most music teachers, you know, like I don't think you're like outside of the realm of most people who are looking for a music teaching gig. I'd like to do this because I don't want to work at H&M. Fair. Speaking of, so you so you stopped doing it, or you're just like, oh, this isn't really that much money, and then you also were working at H&M?
Yeah, it was because the thing with teaching is it's like very hard to make it a full-time, like when you're doing private lessons, really hard to make it a full-time thing.
Yeah.
So I just had one day or one kind of like afternoon, evening that I would work at the studio, and then my other days were totally free. So yeah, then I picked up working retail just during the summer. Also, a lot of people don't do lessons during the summer.
Because they're on vacation.
Because like school
kids.
schedules.
Yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense. Right?
Okay.
You're just like, I just want to work somewhere they got the skinniest pants.
The ones with the stupid little ribs, like you know the ones that I'm talking
the
about.
ribs in like the knee zone. Is that what we're
like
talking about?
Yeah.
Ribs on the thigh.
I saw a lot of interesting shirts. I really did. Because I worked there in around 2016. So we weren't quite out of the cringy things on shirt. Are we ever out of the cringy things on shirts?
I think that's one of the appeals of shirts, you know, is that there's a capacity for cringe. In the early 2000s, it was just like sassy things like these are my dress clothes or like, you know, I don't know. Wait, what's the fucking thing where it's like, I'm mad and today's not a good day to talk to me. I don't know. I'm doing it in Southern accents because I'm from North Carolina and these are the kids that I remember wearing. Anyway, what I'm saying is t-shirts are like at least 30% cringe at all times.
You just got to wait for them to age out to the point where they become cool again. Because it's
what I'm
all
saying.
very cyclical.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of kids had like an anarchy t-shirt. It went to my high school. Like anarchy, just the broad concept.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just chaos for the sake of chaos. Be the Joker.
Like one of the suburbs, bro. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to go on my tirade on anarchy shirts. So yeah. So how did you get the job at H&M? Just like you just waltz in? Like I do music.
It was like a job fair of sorts. Or I saw that they were running, and it's funny enough, it was right next to my college that I ended up going to for music. But it was like right next door, and they were running, it was H&M itself, but I found it through, was it through Indeed? It's really hard to remember because I was like 15 or 16 at the time, but went to this building and it was a really fun kind of like corporate-y activity, like, do you know what I mean when it's like a get to know you, but like also there's tasks and
tell us your favorite
like
kind of
fun
pizza
games, like or it was like work in a team to build the tallest castle, so like kind of fun.
They're just trying to find out who wouldn't punch the other people.
Like because that was part one of the interview, or maybe I did an interview and that was part two of people, and they were just like really touting the company of being like good. Of course they did.
Right.
But the managers were all pretty chill and young, and so when I started there, it was actually pretty good. Like I liked my coworkers, and it was fine. I mean, whatever, like you're folding clothes and you're putting clothes away, but at that time too, like it was at least stuff that I liked and would wear.
Absolutely.
Maybe so it was kind of fun.
Is gonna have the stuff that is popular at the time, and you're gonna get a discount, right?
Yes. So it was not all bad. And like I said, my coworkers were mostly really chill and my managers were also pretty chill. But then we hit a point after a fefew months where it was like the probation period. And so some people got let go after that because they just like did not play well with others.
They were super bad at stacking those blocks or whatever.
Or they were like late too many times. I don't know. Then there was a time where basically the February-ish, basically post-Christmas, there's a huge slump in retail. And so there was no hours at all. Like we were barely working, and that just kind of sucked because I was like, well, I'm not making any money. But I mean, I still lived at home. Like I don't know why I was stressing. I think I really wanted to be independent, like really early. So so then there was that slump. And then they had to lay some people off. Not me. I was a good worker.
Rated the blocks.
But exactly. Built a tall castle.
You should see her playing Jenga, folks.
But then we got to the summer and stuff started picking up again. And we were so understaffed that even part-timers were working like 38 hours a week. If you wanted a day off, you looked at the schedule and the one person that wasn't working had already booked it off. So you couldn't get anyone to cover your shift.
Right.
We were all so burnt out, so exhausted. Like I remember sometimes being like the only person on my floor having to close like 3 I'm 17, having to close 3 departments because there was just like nobody out. Like usually it's one person is responsible for one department.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I like had to close like 3 departments. And we just were, very understaffed. And people were at this point, because you couldn't get anyone to cover your stuff, like people were just calling out. Like it just was
right.
So it was just messy. And then a lot of management turnover. Like I think stuff was just not going very well. So it started becoming a lot just like shittier. And this is at a time where minimum wage was still like 11 an hour. Versus now it's almost 15.
Yeah.
It's funny that you look back at it and you go like, I guess I describe it as stuff was not going very well.
No.
it's like it sounds like fucking chaos. It's like
it was chaotic.
It sounds like you're pulling your hair out stress levels at 17 to be closing an entire floor by yourself. I would say it was not a dandy time.
No, but I will say at least it was better though to be working than like when it was super dry. Because it was the same when I transferred locations when I went to, because I actually kept that job for like almost 3 years. But I transferred over to a different location when I moved for school, and that location was a bit bougier, but there just like wasn't as much traffic. So then again, I was only working like 1 truck shift a week, which was so shit too, because like the truck shifts are at 7 a.m. And so I just worked like 7 to 11, and then I would go have classes.
Yeesh.
And that was like every Wednesday.
I'd like to ruin my week one day at a time. Like,
what if I just felt like shit?
To put a 7 a.m. just like bomb in your week, because you're probably not waking up unless you're like a super morning person, you just be like, yay, I'm fine. And then just have a day you just are decimated by having to get up at like,
and I don't know about you, but like, I find that my like tummy, and I don't even have IBS or anything, but like support to the gang who has IBS.
Like, shout outs, they love us.
We support you here. But just like that wrecks your body's just not used to it, and it does kind of just like mess with everything. I remember just like even I worked retail a couple of years ago again as well, but at a different place, and it was just like 1 or 2 truck shifts in the morning, and then like my whole week would just be like
you got to commit. It's got to be all mornings or all not, otherwise it's chaos.
You're thrown for a loop.
Did you're talking about like I'm just envisioning you like just like so many pants over one shoulder and like a $2 blazer, like you're hauling to get like to close all these departments. Did like the customers notice that like there was nothing going on?
But here's the thing though, is that it would be like you'd be helping customers till past close because you're overstaffed, and then you were just like, oh yeah, so I was doing that, but not, I was saving face in front of the customers. Like they didn't have to watch me. They didn't have to watch me do the close.
Got it. Yeah, that's true. And also H&M's, like they have they're mostly organized, but if there's things astray, it's not like you're in a Banana Republic or something, where it's like there's not like a super strong order to an H&M. There's clothes. If you see something unfolded, like the demographic at H&M is not like business professionals. We're like, I demand.
Yeah, when there are customers there, but like our managers wanted it to be like really, really clean when we close. But I will say I'm the kind of person that like that actually makes me very calm to like,
oh no, it looks nice,
organized. And when I'm just like alone too, I can just be like, because like you can't tell in this situation because I just like talk so fucking much, but
it is
I am
podcast.
an introvert.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm really glad. I'm like doing my job. And I've had like too much caffeine today for sure. But
got it. So you're an introvert, and so when you're in H&M,
and
you
so I
prefer not
like
to talk
working
to random
alone.
Strangers. Yeah. Oh, you like working alone? So
it's like fun. No, I like working alone. Yeah. So it's like one of my favorite things to do nowadays is like if my friends need a poster, like album art or anything like graphic design stuff, I really like doing.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like alone. And the nice thing about, because I work a lot in music and in audio. So if I'm doing editing or if I'm mixing or if I'm doing those kinds of things, like I have to listen to the thing that I'm working on. But if I'm doing graphic things, I can just put on my favorite album
God
and then just
damn,
like
you're singing my song.
So that's that's, I like that a lot. And then I mean, it's fine. Like I play well with others as well if I need to. Like I'll work in a group, not a problem.
No, you did the blocks. You did the blocks.
I really did. But I will say that I enjoy working.
Got it.
By
so
myself.
like, yeah, for you, there wasn't like, I mean, again, it sucked to close these things by yourself, but you're like, yeah, but I am by myself and that's cool. I don't have to talk to customers.
Yeah,
anymore.
it wasn't the worst. Yeah, it was definitely worse to be like on cash and have people like,
I mean, all you're doing, you're talking to someone or nothing. That's it. So how long were you?
Guys,
so you did, what's up?
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say I also like being alone.
Introverts, gang.
I kind of play video games or just play my guitar or whatever. I'm not as creative in that way, but I dig it. I can relate. I
also like to not talk to people.
Ideal.
You're never gonna believe what I'm doing after this. Just hanging out by myself.
So you were at H&M for 3 years.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So how'd you leave?
It was at this new location where I was getting like virtually no hours, and I was like, well, with or without these $40 that I'm making every week, I could at least sleep.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Claim back a little bit of my soul.
Yeah. So I was just like, listen. And I really tried. I was like, hey, look, I'm happy to pick up other people's shifts and like I want to work more, and it just didn't pan out. And so I was like, no, it's not worth it at this point. Like literally for $40 a week, I was like, I just won't Uber Eats every night. Like it's fine.
It'll be fine.
Or like whatever I was doing. I don't even know if Uber Eats was around in 2017.
Yeah, but as some sort of non-essential expense.
Not get my avocado toast every morning. Clearly it's the reason that I can't afford a house.
That's definitely the reason.
At H&M, what would you say percentage of your check are you giving right back to them and the stuff you buy? Like I remember that was always a problem with me. Like I worked in a record store when I was like 21, and I would just give them all of my money back in like movies and see albums. Just like, so what was that for you? Because you're talking about trying to place where your money, what would you have done with that $40? Were you giving it right back to them for like?
Oh, I'm sure during that time period where I was, like barely working, it was probably net zero. But during the time where I was actually working a lot, I was able to pocket some of it. But no, definitely, because you see stuff and the deals are good. Like it was, I think,
I like H&M
25% off for staff. Like you know, it's a chunk. It's a chunk, and so
and their clearance is pretty good. I mean, to begin with, their clearance is pretty decent
too.
Yeah, dude. Like, no, I'm a big fan of H&M, and honestly, I believe anything you told me happens at an H&M. I don't like. There's like,
it does feel like a European embassy kind of thing.
Place,
yeah,
you know, it's just like you just like want like a nice suit or like a shirt with a banana on it, whatever. I got you.
Yeah, no, you're right. But only on the pocket. You know what I mean? Like you'd have a pocket tee and there'd be just one banana on it, you know?
Oh yeah. And the shirt's a little see-through, like it.
Yeah, a little see-through, or just shrinks real fast when you buy it. You know, you do a couple washes and it's a bit of a midriff situation.
Okay. All right, Adina. So that was your first job. What would you say is the worst job you've ever had?
I think that I might have to give that to, and there's a big part of me that I wish I could have liked this job, because I thought when I was a kid, I really thought it's what I wanted to do. But like I worked in a restaurant for a summer. And because when I was a kid, like me and my best friend, we would play with play food like a lot, and we would pretend we were running a restaurant, and we would be like serving in this restaurant. And legit in my interview, I was like, listen, I have not worked restaurant before officially, but let me tell you, unofficially,
Play-Doh creations that I've served.
Ready.
I'll tell you about the land of make-believe, my friend.
I'm putting microgreens on these like Play-Doh plates. Absolutely. So it was serving or what?
Well, here's the thing is I wanted to serve it because I didn't have experience. It was like, okay, we'll start you off as a hostess, but I was like half hostess, half behind the bar. And again, I liked being behind the bar. It was like almost like being in the kitchen, but being a line cook is very, very hard. So I didn't
Yes,
have
it
to do
is.
that.
Yeah.
But I got my smart serve and I was like half bartending, half making like shakes and giving people drinks and whatever. So that was fun. I would be a bartender again. Like I think I would. I like drinking, and so know about it. So therefore can help. But then
want to
they
taste
would
this, but also
transition me
get a
with
little fucked up. Here you go, buddy.
Well, the number of times I've seen bartenders just like do a little shot on the job, I'm like, they know what's up.
They definitely know what's up. Yeah.
and it's a job where you could get tips because all I was getting was tip out. And so that's fine, but it was just like pretty small. Like the tip out was pretty small. But I communicated with my managers that I would like to serve. And so I was like trying to do a good job. And then they got me on hosting, which was fine. Like I liked that a little less because again, like you work, then it's less working alone. Like when you work behind the bar, I know you're like kind of taking orders, but you're still working alone. Like you've got your workspace and you're like, this is my office.
You're definitely like the deity of that space for sure.
Right.
You know, like
but because like bussing tables and stuff, like it's not the same.
As a bartender, you can make decisions about people. You know, you'd be like, you
shake
don't get
a
any
thing
more.
and you look cool.
You do shake a thing and you look
real
cool.
loud.
Well, because
people's conversations just right at them, you know, really going after them. I get it.
I cannot hear you. Yeah.
So it was like the half and half, and that was okay for a bit. But again, I kept communicating that I would like to move up to serve and be trained to serve when that became available. And then here's the thing that happened kind of halfway through the summer is that we lost a couple of our wait staff and they were looking for servers. Again, communicated multiple times that I was down. They externally hired a few people. And those people sucked so bad. Like there was this girl that would think that she was killing it, but they were even saying the managers were saying at the end of the day that she's like, you know, $300 off. Like she just like fucked stuff up and then would take like smoke breaks every 2 seconds or would show up super, super late and hungover after partying the night before. Like it was just a not good situation.
Right.
And so things were still messed up. They still needed wait staff, like still wouldn't give me the opportunity to serve until my last day. Like at the end of the summer, I was like, you know what, I'm going to school. It's not like it's super, especially because I'm not serving, like it's not worth it for me to stay. So I gave my 2 weeks and that day, my last day of work, I show up and lo and behold, this server didn't come in. The other person called out because they were actually sick or something. And so then on my last shift, like they quickly trained me to serve. They're like, okay, you have to be our server today. And I killed it and it was fun. And I actually made tips and it was good. And I was like, man, you couldn't have just given me this opportunity like a month or two ago and I might have actually stayed. Like it was just kind of one of those situations where I was like, mistakes were made.
What were they saying to you when you would ask like to serve? What they just say no, they just wouldn't reply?
They would just kind of be like, oh, okay. Like they would acknowledge it, but like nothing was ever done about it.
Like, we're gonna keep going with the horrible girl, actually. We're gonna keep it.
You can talk to
Sandra. The worst employee.
And also like externally hiring is so, I don't know, it feels a little shady because it's like you have staff that you could promote, but instead you're externally hiring for a position that's higher than what someone who's been loyal has already. I don't know. That was so it was more like the environment that I was kind of like, it started off really chill and then it disintegrated into stuff being just messy and
What's your relationship with the weak ass girl? Like the girl that just fumbling around everywhere?
Oh, I barely even knew her. I don't even know. I think I might have bummed a smoke once or twice. That was nice of her. But I was honestly like out there being like, what are you doing? Like, are you really smoking every hour?
What are you, addicted? Get out of here.
Like leaving us. Well, the thing was too, it was like all these orders that weren't going out, and then they'd get like me, I'm working behind the bar, and they're like, oh, can you run this to this table? Oh, can you run this to this table? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can, but that's not my job.
Right.
Yeah, no, I have legs and arms for sure. I can do stuff with them, you know, it's just that right now I'm doing these other things. Because that's what I was gonna ask is like, because you know, I mean, in many cases, like bar back and or host positions can be very like symbiotic with servers, you know, like so you're seating our tables and stuff. So I mean, we all kind of had to do a little bit of everything, which, you know, it happens and it wasn't so bad. I mean, to be honest, I was only thinking in terms of like more legit jobs, but I think if I had to say, it's tied up there for worst job, but like I nannied for a bit.
yeah, that's an appropriate reaction.
Mhm.
And I was not informed like the full capacity of this job when I
Mhm.
thought it was like elaborate babysitting, or like I had
Mhm.
the good fortune of nannying 2 kids before who are like, I wasn't even really nannying, but I was like just kind of taking like driving them around sometimes and like taking care of them and helping with homework and whatever. And they were
Sure.
very sweet.
Yeah.
But then I took this other position
Uh-huh.
and I get told my duties like when I get there. And it turns out that I have to like bathe and put to sleep this 5-year-old. And I'm like,
Oh.
I am 21 with no plans to be a parent.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Why am I being a parent?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Having to like cook for
Yeah,
them and do
bedtime
like,
is insane. I mean, that's a
oh yeah,
lot.
and this was like a kid that had trouble sleeping, like could not sleep without melatonin, like would not, like it was like, I'm telling you, it was, I can't, like I really cannot, I can't.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's shit, dude.
And it
So
wasn't
they-
just the one kid. There was also like
Another kid?
another one who was older, and you know, obviously, granted, not as, but it's hard too because kids are so like they're so latched onto their tech, and then your job is to keep them kind of off the tech. But
Mm.
but the only way that they are quiet is if they're on the tech,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
so then you're like,
I
Mhm.
need this. I need this.
So when do
Yeah.
you start pumping them full of melatonin? Like what?
And
what
or
point?
Xbox.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's supposed to be like about half an hour before bed, but they make kids melatonin. They're like these
Yeah.
little gummies that are
Mhm.
supposed to be really yummy.
It's
and
intravenous
stuff.
or whatever.
Yeah.
They
Um,
just oh my god. Just put
it's
that
a
right.
gummy. You liquefy it. It's no big deal.
It's a little shot in the neck. They go right out.
Oh yeah, it was just a weird thing. Like I did a lot of working with kids, and and I mean, obviously I teach, but most of my students right now are adults, which I
Yeah.
actually love. I love working with adults and teaching adults.
Yeah.
And I like teaching kids as well, because then it's only like that hour, and then
I
you
was
know
just gonna
that
say that of course the main difference is the programmed time, which is like somebody tells the child, "You're here for music. This person does music. Go do music," and then you do that. And if they're off task, you get to be like, "You're not doing music," and they'd be like, "Well, I don't care." But either way, I know I'm supposed to be. And worst case scenario, 29 minutes later, it's fucking over, right? Whereas this is like, I mean, the thing about kids is like they think that you're for them, and I mean, in a sense, you are, right? But like they think that you're
Right.
exclusively for them. Like they don't understand that you're a whole person who would prefer to just like be quiet for a while. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
how many hours a day or a week or whatever were you working with these kids?
it would be like every single weekday,
Mm-hmm.
from like 5 to 9,
Mm-hmm.
5 to 9:30. It was a lot. I think I like blocked it when you asked me what the worst job was. Like I think I
Uh-huh.
blocked
Like, I
it
had no fun at
full
this
stop,
restaurant.
like
Yeah.
blocked this one out of my memory.
Yeah.
Um
This is super common on this podcast, is that people come up with a first job and then a real worst job. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, so I think it's just not for me. Like I think what these people needed was like a live-in
Yeah.
person, and it was
Uh-huh.
just like that's not what I
Wait,
know.
so are they leave or they're there when you're nannying? Like
It
That's
was a
my
more
question.
complex situation. Like it was a more temporary thing. Like it was like a single parent who
Sure.
had for like a temporary single parent because they were in different countries.
Okay. Got
But
it.
they just needed the support while they were in med
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
So I was like, I
Okay.
want to help, and I was
In
like,
med
yeah, like
school, wow.
you can't do that. Like study for like stuff with two
Got
little
it. So
kids.
so
Like
one
I
of the
totally
parents is
get it.
there while you're putting the kids down, but they're like studying or whatever.
Barely, not really.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
it was
Okay.
it was like mostly just me, just riding
Oh,
solo.
so they
And
were
here's the
at
thing that's
school. They
so
were like in the library.
yeah, or studying.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that like I am good with kids.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, look at my hair. I could be on like Treehouse right now.
Uh-huh.
I could just be like
Sure.
a kids TV show host or something.
Okay.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it's fine.
The haircut
but-
is fine. Adina, what do you You look fine.
No, I just
It's
find the
fine.
pigtails funny. I don't know
Like
what
what?
possessed me. I was like, let's do pigtails for this interview. It's great. But so I'm like, I'm good with kids, but then so that in my brain immediately I was like, I should be a grade school teacher. And then I took like a full stop when COVID came around, and I was like sitting and I was reflecting, and I was like, if I did that, I would hate my life.
Right.
Just because I'm
Yeah.
good with kids does not mean that I need to work with them. And
Yeah.
that was big for me to realize. Like, I think I
Mhm.
like working A, alone, but also B, with grown-ups.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Shout outs to being alone.
Yeah, shout outs
Mhm.
to grown-ups. I think that's an important lesson across the board. It's like, just because you're good at something doesn't mean that it should be or has to be your like moneymaker. You know what I mean?
Or your like destiny. I don't know.
Or
I was
your
thinking about it in
fate.
big terms. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think part of it's like, to be good with kids is both difficult and also rather simple. Like, just don't be an unfeeling monster. And you've got if a kid looks at you, just give him a little bit of a look back of like, and like, you've done so much more than every other adult will ever do for them, you know? So it's good to have that instinct, but just because you have it doesn't mean it's like this thing you want to do forever and ever and ever. And I think also teachers in particular, I feel like we've gone over this too many times in this podcast, but it's such a specific skill set and it's such a specific lifestyle that teaching becomes, you know, where versus like nannying, sometimes it's like, yeah, oh, it sucked, but it's 9 o'clock and I'm done.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing too, is just like the sheer energy that it would suck out of me.
Yeah.
Like some people, like like it's a recharging, maybe. I mean, I'm sure that not for most people, but I think for some people it is more draining than for other people. Let's just,
I would agree.
Across the board, draining.
Some people are better survivors, you know.
Yeah, or they can like make the most of it. But I just think for me it would just be like a perma exhaustion situation.
I'm just curious about you saying like the narrative that was built into your head of like, I'm good with kids and I'm going to, it sounded like you were like, it is written in stone, like
no,
I'm going to do this.
Yeah, because I just did it for so long. Like I said, my first job ever was teaching. I was like 15 or whatever. And so I was like, oh, I've always done this. I'm good at this. Like and then it was also the whole imposter syndrome thing of being a woman in a male dominated field, of being like, I don't know shit, man. Like, stick to my guns. Like, so yeah, it almost like I like resigned myself to be like, I guess I just like have to go be a teacher. And I was also like, I want a real job that can make me real money. And so I was like, well, I guess the only one I could do is being a teacher. So it was just this whole thing. And then thankfully I stopped. I talked to my parents too, and my parents, but all of my grandparents were profs and teachers. My parents work in like IT and like my mom's a business analyst and my dad's a software engineer. So they're doing like real jobs, but not at all in the teaching realm.
Mandolin's a real job. Mandolin's cool.
So they basically cautioned, they're like, we saw like your grandparents, like we saw our parents go through just like the sheer amount of marking and just the stress that came with teaching, and they're like, you don't want that, think about it carefully. Man, you don't want that.
That's
cool
great
of them.
Yeah, that's so nice that they would say that.
Yeah. I mean, also, you know, because blind support is nice, but blind support is not. Like, I have friends whose parents just like, and it's out of the goodness of their heart. Yeah. But then it's like, no, like you need to also, like, you're the parent, like offer, you know, some guidance. So I'm very grateful for that. I was like, no, I will find something else. Like, I don't care. Like, I can do it. And so now I'm just like, yes, I can do things and do them kind of well. Yeah.
Which is honestly more than most people do at most jobs. To do something kind of well. I think that's better than most people that I've run into. I would say so. So okay, I'll talk with the folks. Was just like, no, I will not tread this. Like these like darkened waters.
I'm not bathing any of your kids, right? No, I'm not giving any no baths. I'm not giving them any more drugs, right? I want to jam. I want to make music, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a rock star. What do you mean that I'm not gonna just like get famous? That's the plan.
So for these kids, I mean, was it like a defined this bad nanny situation? Was it a defined time, or did you have to get out of it in some way?
It was a little bit of both. Like there was a timeline for the like for the school part for like their parent to be, you know, at least out of that. But then they still asked me to like do more, and I was like, I kind of just said, I was like, hey, I will help you until the day of your exam. but afterwards, like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So that and you know, and you know, they were understanding. She was very understanding of it. But yeah. So and I wrote like I was pretty proud of the paragraph that I wrote to just be like, hey, my letter of resignation in a way.
You got like you wrote like on a quill or something. How did you say?
You know, in the notes app, the modern day version.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's real funny that you're just like, look, I will work my ass off to make sure that you are okay to your exam, but after that, I will be actively working on blocking you from my memory forever. I'll be on a podcast years later and just
I want to
feel
forget
so bad too. Like I like, what if they see this? Like I wasn't like I care about them, and like it was, you know, it was a fine. It wasn't the job for me, but it was
for sure. I think that look, if they see this, like number
nothing
one, hello,
personal.
how are you?
Yeah.
But also like you can't.
They were asking you to give their kids melatonin every night, like
that's what I'm saying.
Sleep. Like it's like.
There's no way they didn't know that it was fucking tough.
You're fine.
Because they had the kids themselves. They were with the kids all the time. And they said, this is so tough. I need somebody else.
Somebody else to do it.
So like, no shit. That person's also going to have a similar view.
Use the things I got them. like these toys I paid for, don't let them touch them at all. I'm watching you.
Yeah,
come on, man.
They can't watch the television.
Bit of responsibility there.
It's a giant black screen on the side of the wall, but they cannot watch it. Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I think you're fine.
I'd say they should give you a little leash. You know, it's tough. Like raising kids there's nobody that I've ran into that's been like, kids easy, you know, and that's even
I was also
kids.
So young. I'm like, you know, I was working with kids basically since I was like in a more babysitty way, not literally. And then I'm like not even sure, like not to get like crazy into this, because that's a whole can of worms that I would like to go to therapy for, because I don't quite understand the reasoning, but I don't know if I want to have kids. I really don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So
you don't have to answer that here.
I was in my early that one of the interview questions. But it was
why don't you?
It was a very curious situation. I was like, why is this giving me so much anxiety? And then I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, I'm in my early 20s.
Absolutely.
I first of all don't even know if I want to have kids. It doesn't matter if I know now, but I definitely know that right now I don't want them because I am in my early 20s.
I don't want them around me.
Why am I spending all of my time around them and essentially parenting them? And there was this huge, just like, it was a big breakthrough for me, but it was this like cognitive dissonance of like wanting to enjoy being young and being in my early 20s, like, and being child free in this young point in my life. And then the duality of like, actually so much of my energy is going into caring for children, which obviously the children need to be cared for. Sure, I'm not a child hater, you know. I feel like
the title of this episode is Child Hater.
Musician and local child hater Adina V will be on the show today.
You got kids? Get them out of the room because she fucking hates them.
Yeah. She got a haircut she doesn't like, and she's taking it out on your children here on this episode of Fuck This Place.
But yeah, I mean, no, you're absolutely right. Like that 20-something world, like as a person who just got what is that? I bought one at the store, who just had a kid. I just got a kid.
Congratulations.
Newest model. Thank you. But like, no, you're absolutely right. Like, and there's a big difference between other people's kids and your kids. And there's a lot of fun to be had in not being around them. So like, it's just like, I mean, at 24, that's not, and I know plenty of other people that have made the exact same decision, that were like in childcare or childcare adjacent fields. And they were like, I'm in my 20s. I need a break between kids and my kid, if there will ever be one, you know?
Right.
I mean, one of the best ways to know if you want kids is to not be around them for a while, you know, because once you are, you realize all the fucking work it is. Right. Okay. We're going to close this podcast out with, we usually do 3 questions to kind of wrap things up. Adina, question number 1 that we usually do, I think we kind of covered, is when were you done and how did you quit for this worst job? And we know for both, because one was you were already quitting and they were like, wait, you want to be a server for half an hour? And the other one, you just gave your notice. Question number 2, and you can pick either job here. What's one good thing you took from that bad job?
I will actually go to the restaurant one for this. And it was that I actually really enjoyed because my job there when I was doing the bartending, it was kind of an umbrella thing. Like I was kind of the runner. That
Yeah.
was my
Okay.
job.
Mhm.
And I actually kind of thrived in that situation. Like I really like being a problem solver and I like
Yeah.
kind of like looking at it, assessing a situation and seeing where like being opportunistic about like where can I help? Like
Yeah.
how can I, so
Yeah. You're
that
like
was
the
kind of fun to have
synergizer.
it was almost like a bit of freedom
Yeah.
and some responsibility. So that was, but yeah, like a free agent. Like I think like the runner is kind of like the free agent and I can hop into like some
Yeah, you're
different
like
roles.
sort of a jack of all trades in the sense of just like I can help anybody with anything. What do you need?
Yeah. So I found that that was an energizing thing for me. I enjoyed that.
Uh-huh. Now, now I typically don't ask this question, but this just sparked my curiosity. Now that you have that, have you like followed up on that in any way, or is it more of like a thing I've got in my pocket for now?
I think being a freelancer
Right.
in music and creative work, like that kind of is what you do. Like you have to be able to wear a
Sure.
lot of hats and like hopefully it's not jack of all trades, master of none. Like you got to be good at the things that you do.
Well, sure.
But I do it's not as clear as within like a closed kind of system as a restaurant and you look at okay this
Well,
is where I
sure.
can help and this but it is like I always have a bunch of different projects on the go and
Yeah.
I'm juggling it's like mentally stimulating and I like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the freelance lifestyle is okay for me. Like I can do that.
For sure. I also think that the jack of all trades, master of
Mhm.
none, like phrase, which comes up in my brain sometimes too. I think it's like a little misleading because it's like, yeah, you want to be good at some stuff, but it's also like the jack of all trades is like you don't want to be good at like cooking and pouring concrete. You know what I mean? Like if they're all in the same realm, which is like maybe visual or like create like a creative kind of like push. I think to me it's like I think humans are kind of a lot of humans anyway are built that way where it's like we were I don't know historically like farmers and stuff where like that's all you do is just problem solve for yourself, right? Of just like, oh, I need water, I need food, let me like these are all there's a multiplicity of things that are around the same theme.
Well, I also think too, just like when do you ever need a master of something? You're like what
Truly.
like when do you need a master chef in your life? You just need someone who can cook
real good.
It's just being pretty good at a few things will take you far.
Real far.
It's
You're
like
right.
it doesn't have to be doesn't like like it's like who's a jack of all trades master of none is a handyman. And I always am happy to have be working with a handyman.
Oh boy.
He's not pouring cement as well as the master cement pourer, but he's gonna be able to do what I need him to do. Like
he's gonna fix that garbage disposal.
It's a good analogy.
It's just like I rarely have I ever been like, fuck, I need the greatest of all time right now. Show up. It's the only way we're getting out of this scenario.
This refrigerator is broken. I need someone who understands like quantum physics of refrigerators. Yeah. Okay. Question number 3, not related to these jobs, is how you been? How you doing? I don't know what Canada's pandemic situation is. In the United States, they have given up. They gave up not just recently, but a while back and recently. So how are you doing? How have you been?
Yeah.
It's you know what? It's been it almost feels like it's like a false sense of security, I think, with it right now. Like no, there's not really any mandates or anything in place. Like things are okay. Like I've heard of less of my, I guess, like in my circles, like not that many people are getting sick with it. So stuff is getting better, but it does kind of feel like we were just like, oh, stuff's happening. And then it's just like, no, we don't need masks anymore. Sweep everything under the rug. Don't address everything.
Whatever.
Right.
So, but it is like, I will say like, depending on the work scenario, like it's nice when you're working in a small group to not have to wear masks, or if we like we were doing some like filming work this summer and like being on set with that's always
it's nice not to test every 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, that as well. I mean, I know I have some friends who work as actors and they still need to before they go on set, like they need to get their test done. So it's good that it's not completely, it's like zero protocols.
Sure.
But yeah, but I mean Toronto is hard because Toronto's really dense. Yeah. Right. So other
it's one of the reasons it's so great to bike through.
Yes. It's definitely better. Things are looking up, and on the live music front, things are really looking up. Like I think a huge part of, to circle back to, oh my God, circle back. put me in an office.
We're circling. It's a job. It's a podcast about jobs.
I
can ping
back to was that like Microsoft Teams going off? Boo Teams.
Agreed.
But the whole thing when I was like, oh shit, like I need a job that's gonna make money, like I should go to teachers college, I should be a teacher, is because so many of the musician things that I would have been doing just weren't happening, because this was like 2021-ish that I was thinking this, like late 2020, early 2021 is when I was thinking this. And now that so many opportunities are back for my field, it's like, oh no, I can kind of, there's like hope, and there are options here. So that's been nice, is like it doesn't feel as kind of gloomy as it did a year ago. For a lot of creative people
still want to gather. I mean, Jesus Christ, they went together so hard, they were willing to die for it many times. But like, you know, like people want to see music, you know, and they want to hear music, and it's easy when you're in the thick of it to be like, well, I guess it's never coming back, and I have to come up with this. And now the gears are all putting in place here, where it's like, I have to find this other track that's like a guarantee, right? Which is the teaching. Thanks to Adina's parents. You know, one of them is a Scorpio, but we forgive her.
Yeah. And mom is listening, right? As far as I know.
Yeah. So,
hey,
mom.
right? She's going to be listening. Yeah.
Mom,
what's up, mom?
Mom wants to check it out.
Hi, Mom.
She
Good to
said,
see you.
Mom,
Who are these
Mom is
boys
nice
you're
and
talking
supportive.
to?
Well, Adina, thank you so much for joining. Where can people find you on the internet, and also contact you for gigs?
Word. Yes. Let me plug myself. The most wonderful part of being an artist. I say that very sarcastically.
I got it.
But I am on the Clock app. That's where you guys found me.
That's right.
So on TikTok and on Instagram, it's just at Adina V Music. That's my handle. If you wanted to get in touch about anything, I would suggest Instagram, because on TikTok things get lost. Like I had that little actually, funny enough, on that one video that kind of popped off, I posted that right before going camping for 48 hours. And I didn't bring my phone. So when I came back and opened my phone, it was a little insane. I was like, what is going on right now?
I'm sorry, just real quick. That's in reference to the Outfield mandolin cover? Yeah. That's how I saw you. And it's pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's a reason it blew up. It's pretty fucking good.
I appreciate it. So that it was thrilling and also terrifying. To have that much attention on the phone. I had a lot. I have a screen time timer on my phone, and those few days when that, like, I don't even want to tell you what the number was.
Well, you got to respond to comments. You got, you know, like it's part of the.
But yeah,
game.
so it's just like what I was wanting to say about that, though, to not be too scatterbrained, was that I check my Instagram DMs. I do not check my.
They're easier to respond to because there's a fewer of them.
Yeah, but there's also so there's a link tree in both of those bios with like my Spotify and Bandcamp and other things, like other projects that I've been a part of. So that's where you can kind of find that. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm not like crazy active on there, but there are like full versions of things, because on TikTok it's always just the snippet, you know.
Right.
Instagram's really good. Like if you are in the GTA or like come to Toronto often, like Instagram is more so where I'm going to post about shows and other live occurrences, because on TikTok the audience is from everywhere. So it was so funny. The other day someone commented on my video and they were just like, hey, do you ever perform live? Like there's an open mic in Arizona you should come to. And I'm like,
bruh,
I would fucking love to, but unfortunately Arizona is very far. I'm not going to come down for an open mic.
And that open mic doesn't sound like it's paying much.
No. I was like, that would be really fun if I lived like 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think people realize like
so you should come to our lame open mic on Tuesday nights.
Everyone there sucks. Would you come, please?
Would you come hang out?
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Adina. It was a real pleasure. It was a great time. By the way, we have a special little thing at the end of the episode today, because Adina has a new single coming out August 31st called Admit It, and you can pre-save it. So we're actually going to play a little snippet of that on the way out here, so stick around. The typical like end of show music will not be happening, so jam for a little bit. Thanks so much for joining us, and fuck this place.
listening to the sound